Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Corner HVAC. I am glad you joined me today. Today I got a couple small tips on using a couple different kinds of tools that I wanted to get into. But first, if you are already one of my current subscribers, I want to say thank you. I appreciate everything that you do for me as far as the thumbs ups, the shares, the comments, all that kind of stuff. I get to talk to all kinds of awesome people out there all over the world. We chat back and forth about different things going on with their heating and cooling equipment in their house. I try to give my version of a little bit of advice or anything like that I can do. So if you ever have any comments or concerns or anything, just hit me up and I'll be more than happy to give you my interpretation of my recommendations. So if you are not currently a subscriber, I ask you go ahead and do so. Hit the button right there. It doesn't take much, but it's worth a million. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, check the channel out, see some of the other videos out there. If this isn't one that's in that you're into, there's all kinds of other ones out there. So check out and see what it is. And go ahead and give it a like if you like the video and share with a friend because that's just the right thing to do. It's always nice to share. So, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. But as far as today, what I wanted to talk about was flaring copper. We have a lot of copper in our industry, obviously. But a lot of the new equipment out there, like some of the ductless splits, or they call them mini splits, they are using copper flares on a lot of their joints, or maybe all their joints, as far as the line set and connection to the head units and all that kind of thing. There's also a lot of areas that use copper, that they flare all the fittings together for LP gas. So that's a big thing too. But either way, it's always good, especially for anybody doing HVAC, or just anybody out there that wants to learn how. It's always good to know how to flare copper. So let's say you have this little bitty piece of copper. Now I do just have like a little stub here that I found in the junk pile. It's going to go right back in the junk pile. That's all it is. It's just a piece of junk. But this is a little piece of 3/8 copper. I used a very small piece to make this easy for getting in front of the camera and all that kind of stuff. But you can flare all different kinds, sizes of copper and all that kind of stuff. But this is just a little piece for now. But first off, when you cut that copper with a pair of tubing cutters, whenever you cut that, it always, I don't know if I can get that to zoom in, it leaves a little beveled edge on the inside there wherever you cut that copper. Especially if you crank down too hard whenever you're using your tubing cutters, because technically you should go really slow with just a minimal amount of pressure, all that kind of stuff. But either way, you always end up with a bevel inside there, so you want to ream that. I do not have my good reaming tool with me today, but they make all different kinds, and worst case scenario on a pair of tubing cutters I've got here, some of the larger ones, they do have a reaming tool on there. I think some of the other styles are better. They do make some models that you can use on a cordless drill to ream that out. They also have like the old-fashioned, like I like. It looks like a pencil with a little hook on the end. That little hook blade is sharp in there. You stick it in that pipe and you just twist the handle around and it shaves that off and reams that out so it's nice and smooth in there. Because that's what you want. Whenever that flaring tool, if you can, get it the right way, if you can see that or not, up inside there where that little cone part is, that's going to come into your pipe. And that's what's going to actually go inside and flare that copper out. So you want it to be as smooth as possible because you don't want any imperfections in that copper, dents, scrapes, uneven pieces, anything like that, because it can cause a leak. So we need to make sure we do good flares. So ream that out with your reamer. And then as far as the flaring tool, this is mine. This is my all-time favorite. This is a Rigid. No, I'm not sponsored by Rigid. Unless they'd like to sponsor me, I'd be more than happy to take on their sponsorship and sponsor all of their tools. I'd be really cool with that because I do like the Rigid brand. Like I said, I'm not being paid by them. I'm just a technician that uses a lot of their tools. But like this flaring tool that I have here, I've probably had it for 20 some years. It's very sturdy. Nothing is going to happen to this thing. It'll last forever. And one good thing about it is Rigid does offer a lifetime warranty. If I were to somehow break the handle off or something like that, as long as it's not from neglect or abuse, they will replace the whole thing if they can't fix it, all that kind of stuff. So that's cool. But either way, this particular one will do from 1/8 to 3/4 inch pipe. Now, they do make different sizes, different styles, all that kind of stuff. Yes, there are other brands out there other than Rigid. Yellow Jacket makes a really good one I like as well. Is based off of the same model, I think, because it looks exactly the same. That kind of thing. But like I said, I do like the Rigid brand. And one good thing about this one, it is ratcheting. So it's a little bit easier on your hands, on your arms, all that kind of stuff. If you got to do one flare, it's not a big deal. If you got to do a bunch of flares, you know, all over the house, that kind of thing, you want to make that as easy as possible. So at that point, you know, a flaring tool that has a reversible ratchet is the way to go. Trust me, if you have one day you have to do a bunch of flaring, you will want that reversible ratchet on there. And one of the other good things about this, it does have a clutch in there as well. So when you get all the way down to that perfect point of where it knows it needs to be, the clutch catches and you cannot overdo it. You know, it stops it before you know, smash that copper too far or something like that. So it's also got little notches in there to lock you in to make sure you're on the right size and you're squared up and centered and all that kind of stuff. So it does well. Now with this one, we've got 3/8 copper. Like I said, it's just a little junk piece of copper that I found. We're going to flare it, but you want to find your 3/8, which along the side here, it's engraved in there what size it is. I don't know if you can see that or not, but we're going to use the 3/8 slot. So take your pipe, we've already ringed it, slide it in there, close the clamps, and then you don't want that thing, you know, sticking out, obviously. You don't want it just barely poking in. You want it to come in so we are about flush with that piece right there. And then what we're going to do, let's see if I can hold it and get everything to stay still. You're going to bring that up to the line. And like I said, there's little notches in here to stop that thing. So we're going to crank this down and make sure we find our notch. Now we're going to crank it down tight. Now the thing won't move. And when you do that, it also pinches that in. So now my copper won't fall out either. So that is stuck, that is in there tight. Make sure it's snug and won't go anywhere. Now, for the complicated part, no, there's nothing complicated about this by any means. Make sure your ratchet is in the right direction. Spin it clockwise, that'll go down. You can feel it start getting some tension on it there. See how you can ratchet that? Some of the other ones you have to turn and turn and turn and all that kind of crap. Don't mess with that. Get a ratcheting one, but go all the way down. Oh, see, we hit our spot. And the clutch catches and it won't go anymore. No matter how many times I turn that thing, it's not going to go down anymore. So we know we're done. So at that point, flip your switch around so your ratchet will go the other way. Back that thing out. And we'll get all the way out till it stops. Now we'll undo our clamp. This is actually really hard to try to see what I'm doing in the camera to make sure it's in the right spot. Then we slide that back down. That'll allow our clamp to open. It is hard to do one-handed and watch it all backwards. Open that clamp. Piece of pipe will come out. And now we have a flare on there. See how that flared it? Now I can't get it to focus very well. Is it focusing on there? It still won't focus, but you see how that, if you could see it better, you'd be able to see how we're smooth around our edges, we're smooth inside there, and all that kind of stuff. Now, the number one secret to flaring copper. No, I'm lying to you. It's not a secret, but it is something you definitely want to remember. Now, with this piece, it's a little bitty short piece, and I'm not doing anything with this end right here, right? So, in order to put that flare, you get a flare to work, you also have to have a flare nut. If this pipe is connected to something and runs, let's say 100 foot down that way, you are not going to be able to put a nut on there and slide it all the way down. So before you do that flare, always slip your flare nut on and then attach your flaring tool and make your flare. Like I said, I'm not too worried about this piece because, you know, I'm open on the other end. It's a little bitty, 6-8 inch piece, whatever. Not a big deal. But the secret to flaring is always put your flare nut on first. It saves so much cussing and throwing things and being angry for no reason, or angry because of your own stupidity is what it is. But it saves all kinds of that by just putting the damn nut on first. So that's how you flare copper. That's it. It's not a complicated process. It's not anything magical, anything like that. But if just like everything else that we talk about on here, if you've never done it before, you don't know. That's not stupidity. That's ignorance. You just don't know. You don't know any better. So now you know how to use a ratcheting flare tool the correct way. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, hit me up in the comments. You guys know I love hearing from you. So just let me know what you think. Oh, and actually, I almost forgot. One of my last videos, there was a gentleman on there that he was very polite about it, but if he said that I am too long-winded and just get to the damn point. So and I'm not mocking him by any means. I know I do kind of rattle on about other things. I mean, kind of like now I'm doing the same thing, but that's what I like to do. So if you guys all agree that I just need to get to the damn point, just tell me and I'll start making shorter videos. Or you can start watching some of my shorts, because I'm going to start doing a lot of shorts out there where we do quick little things like this, and we're talking like 60 seconds. So 60-second videos on how to do something, how to use a tool, whatever. Check out some of those shorts, and then you won't have to complain that my regular YouTube videos are too long. So if you need anything, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thank you and God bless.